It's Thursday and the last day of the month of May. We're excited.
Oh, really?
To be here. Yeah, of course. I mean, we're excited to be here.
May is gone.
Yes.
Right is not even aware, which means his money is overflowing.
No, I'm not.
I'll be coming to you very soon.
When God's mercies are around you and keeps dropping on you, sometimes you forget what others are thinking about. That they are broke and stuff like that. Your pockets are always full when God's mercy is always full.
I see.
And there are things in your pocket.
Oh, yeah.
People too in your pocket.
I think
No, they're not people with money in my pocket.
Right, you're beginning to look like a nurse. Are you sure you are not a nurse?
Oh, God.
Because one of the photos I saw looks like you.
Anas.
It looks like you.
Who is Anas?
Maybe.
People claim they know Anas, and the question is that Anas they think they know. Is that really Anas?
Okay, yeah.
You know, I'm looking for one day where he feels, or Ghana becomes a place where there are no corrupt practices, and so he has no work to do in terms of investigating corrupt people.
He won't risk
and then
it.
he will show himself.
He won't risk it.
Oh, but Johnny, I'm sure he would have to, at some point, he would probably retire.
His mates from GIG 2010, 2011.
They know him.
They know him.
Okay,
But they have kept his
identity.
They
may think, I'll still say, they may think they know him, but what if the Anas that they think they know is not him? Because we've always seen him in 3 pieces. Sometimes he's got, multiples.
Right.
So how do you know that the person you sat in class with, who you think is...
somebody knows somebody.
Who knows somebody, who thinks they know somebody.
You see that
Johnny
people who actually know Anas, yesterday when the photos were flying around, we're laughing because
that is
it's as if I know you and somebody is elsewhere showing photos that doesn't include you.
Right.
I'll just have a good laugh.
So what is the rationale behind what whoever is doing this? What is the motive? So once I get to know Anas and what? And that he can't come to us again.
But you see, the point is that.
But that's a huge mistake.
But
we are in a world.
It means the person is not happy with what Anas is doing, and it means you want to hide.
So he wants to
expose,
make his image known. So I know Johnny, and so when Johnny comes to me,
I'll play safe.
But I thought that now the world we live in, you can see Bright sitting here today, but the next time I come to your house, you might not be able to recognize.
In any case, there are even prosthetic masks that are used. So when Anas showed his face to Sami Dako of the BBC then, he had a prosthetic mask.
Yeah,
that was not his face. So
if you put his
really,
face out there, really, I think that where he's gotten to.
In any case, why has the tone changed at this point?
Well,
okay, will any of these exposures or whatever it is stop Anas from airing anything? I don't think so. Now, if you're saying that Anas is corrupt, is blah 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 blah, you are leveling allegation, but you have not proved a single one of it.
That's the
you see, so it begs. I mean, for me, I see some group of people trying to fight the system, the same things that they would shout on top of their voice that they don't support corrupt practices.
Exactly.
I see. Look, what's the point?
Look,
anyway,
tomorrow,
but next week Wednesday will surely
if we want to change our faces to appear on NewDay to look new, it can be done. It can be done. It is done.
If I want to have a Roberto's nose,
the movies that we see, are people whose real identity sometimes are hidden. And so if Anas his identity is made known, I think that it will not then affect his job. Look, where he's got into, I think he's got to the international level, where he can go into any image at all just to get some information.
And for a fact, Anas doesn't work alone. So
exactly.
Maybe we need to.
Maybe AJ is an agent of Anas. You may never be.
AJ probably is Anas as we say.
I was at JIJ, so my classmates have been revealed my identity.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
but
you're okay.
I remember this the Nigerian small girl. What's
Emanuela?
This is not my real face.
This is not
my comedian. But AJ, what do you have on this?
But as for next week Wednesday, tempers will go up. People will get heart attack. It's okay.
Someone says we should go there with a coffee.
But if we see you in the video too, we will deal with you.
Well, the news is coming up shortly after this. Good morning, it's NewDay News coming to you from the News Hub here at this hour in Kanda, Accra. The headlines this morning. Police officers accused of sexual misconduct in South Sudan repatriated. Five persons on trial in the Bantama gang rape case convicted. And speakers at Media General's Accra Dialogue proposed amendments effected to make the country's civil service effective. And on the foreign front, film producer Weinstein indicted for rape. Now, members of the Ghana-formed police unit who were indicted in February this year over alleged sexual misconduct during peacekeeping duties in South Sudan have been repatriated. The team of FPU peacekeepers arrived in the country via a chartered aircraft at 1:30 Wednesday afternoon.
No official information was available on the arrival, and so details are scanty about the investigative findings, the number of personnel actually repatriated, and what will happen to them administratively. It will be recalled that 46 Ghanaian police peacekeepers were withdrawn from the operation zone of WOW by the United Nations mission in South Sudan for alleged gross sexual misconduct. They were taken to the capital of South Sudan after it emerged that the 46-man contingent was involved in sex trading with the internally displaced people pending further investigations. The Ghana Police Service, which requested an independent investigation into the allegation, is said to have completed its work awaiting judgment from the United Nations. The police administration would, however, not disclose its findings. Director General of Police Intelligence and Professional Standards, COP Kofi Boachi, last week only assured of their readiness to inform the public in due course, adding that the personnel involved are safe at post.
The Inspector General of Police sent high-powered delegation to South Sudan. They completed their investigations, but the police is awaiting the investigation from UN because they have to compare notes on the various investigations in order to have a complete and comprehensive report for you. After that is done, I know the Inspector General of Police will not hesitate to inform you of the results. But meanwhile, the policemen are still in South Sudan.
It therefore baffles many as to what has triggered the repatriation in less than a week after the assurance.
Now, Kumasi Circuit Court has convicted the 5 persons accused of gang raping a teenager at Bantama, a suburb of Kumasi. One of the suspects, Enes Asare, who the court established was not a juvenile, has been handed a 7-year jail term with hard labor. Here's a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
The 5 accused persons were all in court Wednesday to know their fate. Reading the verdict, Her Honor Comfort Tasiam said the court had established that one of the accused persons, Ernest Asare, was 20 years old. After pronouncing all the 5 guilty, the court sentenced Ernest Asare to 7 years in prison. The remaining 4, all minors, have been referred to a juvenile court for sentencing. They were convicted for defilement, conspiracy to commit crime, and abetment.
Per the law, the Juvenile Justice Act, if a child is a juvenile, the court of summary jurisdiction cannot sentence the juveniles. So 4 of them who were all juveniles were, as per the Children's Act and the Juvenile Justice Act, they have to be remitted to the juvenile court for sentencing. So the boy who was 20 years was convicted and sentenced to 7 years minimum.
Counsel for the accused persons will be meeting with the court registrar to find out the juvenile court his clients have been referred to for sentencing.
Right after the judgment was delivered by the court, we went to the registry, but unfortunately the registrar of the court was not around. So we followed up. Maybe tomorrow we meet the registrar and then we know which of the juvenile courts that the juveniles will be sent for. sentencing. As of now, we are waiting for a copy of the judgment from the court. And you know, as lawyers, we act on the instructions of our client. And here, the boys are juvenile, so we meet the parents. If they give us go ahead, and then we look at the evidence in totality, definitely, if there's a need for us to appeal against the sentence or conviction, we will do that.
The 5 accused persons were arrested in December 2017 after a video of them gang raping a teenager went viral. 7 persons were allegedly involved in the act, of which 5 of them were arrested and processed before the court. The remaining 2 suspects are at large.
Now, Chief of Staff and former President Kufuor Kwadwo says he agrees with the practice where the President and his team appoint officers to the civil service. The former Chief of Staff argues since presidents are not a receptacle of wisdom and they don't know it all, they need people who could help in achieving their promises. But Prosper Bani, also a former Chief of Staff, disagreed, insisting the practice could spell doom for governance. Both speakers were guests at Media General's Accra Dialogue under the theme, Executing the President's Mandate, the Role of the Civil Service.
Even though we've been told that reforms since 1957 have not been successful, but compared to 1960s and 70s, the civil service as it is today, or as it was in the not too distant past, is in a sorry state. This is my observation after being associated with the service in one way or other since 1966. But do we have to blame the practitioners alone for this state of affairs? To me, the answer is a big no. Let's take one critical cardinal principle of any good civil service: political neutrality and efficiency. My experience tells me the civil service is neither politically neutral nor efficient.
Where appointees from government begin to take the substantive positions of civil servants, then we have issues. If you want to be a civil servant, go through the civil servant programs. You need to be trained because their functions are sensitive, nervous, tricky, and dependent. So if you bring somebody for a short period to come and become director of a ministry with reference to the fundamental theory of Max Weber, which established the civil service of this country, we will be creating a situation where there will be significant dislocation between government and the people, delivery of service to the people. This, I think, should be something that we should bear in mind.
Still on the Accra Media Dialogue, the function assigned to presidential staffers is so vague. These were the words of local government expert Professor Kwamina Ahoy, who believes the broad interpretation of the Presidential Office Act 1993, Act 463, is the reason for the continuous confusion amongst presidential appointees and civil servants.
There's a presidential office which is regulated by the Presidential Office Act of 1993. Act 463. And that is where the problem is. All the suggestions that have been made, they are true, but they are actually covered under the Presidential Office Act. Except that it is an act that is so bad, but presidents have found it so useful that nobody has talked about revising or amending the act. The function of the presidential office is to provide the president and the vice president such services as they may require for the efficient and effective performance of the executive functions of the president and vice president under the Constitution and any other law. That is all their function. Now, if you don't take you will interpret this so broadly as to cover everything that the civil service and the public services do. And the absence of the definition of the executive functions for which the presidential staff are to provide services, as I said, creates serious overlaps and duplications between their functions and those of the civil and local government services. Now, these problems create the following, or have the following consequences. First of all, it can lead to what is called a polycracy, which is an over-bloated government. When a government is made up of too many people, you get what is called a polycracy. It can also lead to profligacy, which is an excessively expensive government, because an over-bloated government is necessarily an expensive government. It lays the foundation for nepotism, which is a government of relatives. It is also a recipe for cronyism, which is a government of friends. And it is a recipe for patronage, which is the government of the sponsors of the president's campaign. It even leads to what is called a kakistocracy, which is a government of the unqualified people.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has charged mining companies to invest in communities they operate in to improve the living standards of the people. Speaking at the 12th West African Mining and Power Conference in Accra, the president again called for the engagement of more local mining companies in sector to build their capacities.
The West African Mining and Power Conference, an exhibition, is a forum which brings together senior government representatives, key industry executives and stakeholders from across the sub-region to discuss policy, legislation and challenges in the mining sector. President of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Kwame Ado Kufuor, called for reforms in the laws governing revenue generation in the sector to help address challenges.
The Chamber is fully appreciative of government's objective of enhancing the mining sector's contribution to national development. This is also aligned with the Africa Mining Vision and its aim for a knowledge-driven Africa mining sector that catalyzes and contributes to broad-based growth and development. This vision is best achieved by all key players working together in a spirit of partnership, trust, and transparency.
President Akufo-Addo bemoaned the state of communities where mining operations are carried out and called for improvement in living conditions.
Why is Obuasi not the most beautiful city in Ghana or the world if it hosts the richest gold mine? Why do Takwa and Prestea not look like the golden towns they are? And why does Aquatia's appearance not reflect anything about the diamonds that have been taken from its soils all these years? The distressed state of mining communities, in which mining companies operate, is nothing short of a disgrace. And we must work to change the situation.
He again urged the giants in the mining sector to engage local mining companies in order to build their capacities.
We are determined to establish a new paradigm of an integrated mining industry to propel local manufacturing. The value chain of mining has huge potential for job creation, and we intend to tap into it to develop our economy. We cannot and should not continue to be merely exporters of raw materials to other countries. And I'm calling on all players in the sector to work with us to deepen the integration of the mining sector with the non-mineral sectors of the economy.
The theme for the three-day conference and exhibition is a responsible and sustainable mining industry, a partner for national development.
Now let's head over to Parliament, where the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Owusu, says it is embarrassing for members of Parliament to come to sign in and go back without taking part in parliamentary duties in the chamber. The Speaker was reacting to concerns on the floor of Parliament Wednesday about MPs' absenteeism.
Members of Parliament sit from Tuesday to Friday, and the time for the start of proceedings is 10 a.m. But sitting hardly starts at 10, and whenever proceedings begin, only a few members are usually present. TV3 has done quite a number of stories on MPs' absenteeism, yet the act persists. Some civil society groups have also raised concerns about the practice, as well as some MPs. On Wednesday, May 30, 2018, proceedings began a few minutes after 11 a.m. and the numbers were less than one-third. MP for Lambuse Kani, Edward Derry, could not help it and had to burst out.
Please, members should come and even listen to your prayers before they even go out and probably do other business. Mr. Speaker, look at the other paper. We have only one committee meeting, only one. And look at the House.
He asked the Speaker to intervene as they could no longer tolerate it, accusing both sides of the House. But MP for Dorma Central, Kweku Ajiman Menu, tried to defend his colleagues.
30 honorary members have been marked absent with permission. Again, Mr. Speaker, we have as many as 38 other members who have been marked as absent.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu says the continuous practice undermines the public confidence in MPs.
Mr. Speaker, there has been times that you are compelled to sit like today, not the appropriate time of 10 because of requests from leadership sometimes to engage in other activities. But the question of quorum is a requirement of our standing orders which must be respected.
5 minutes after my colleague has raised it, significantly the number is improving. And I believe that if we give ourselves the next 10 minutes, many people will join us.
He added on May 29, the records showed only 45 MPs were present at the start of proceedings, but by close of proceedings, 207 names were captured in the records. The first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Wusu, said it was embarrassing as some members only come to sign and go back.
When we didn't have offices, the only place we could be was at the cafeteria, and so we could always come in our numbers. I've observed since we had offices that people come in, sign in, and go and sit at the offices without coming to participate in the business of the House. Very clearly, the number over 200 that is registered in the proceeding yesterday were not in this chamber at any point in time.
Parliament's Standing Order 16 says a member shall not absent himself during a meeting for more than 15 sittings without the permission in writing to the Speaker. Any member infringing this order shall have his conduct referred to the Privileges Committee. This, the first Deputy Speaker said, most MPs are culpable.
But if you go by the record, indeed, some members have breached the Constitution and they probably ought not to continue to be members of the House.
Well, that's it for the news this morning. NewDay returns shortly after this break.
Welcome back. Happy birthday to you, Benjamin Alpha, formerly of the GIJ, and also to you, Reverend Father Robert Atopi of Transfiguration Anglican Church in Hacho. Good morning to all of you. Front pages now. The Business and Financial Times says banks' first quarter financials and analysis. You should read it so you know how your banks are faring, where to move your money if you have to. Missing gold, how Ghana lost over $6 billion in gold export revenue to major trading partners, and single window increases revenue by 24%. Mobile money interoperability transactions on the rise. Certainly, I mean, people will take advantage of it. But on to our next daily for this morning, the 31st of May. Ghanaian Times says SC awards 45,000 compensation to the teacher. That's the Supreme Court. They're awarding 45,000 compensation. Minority accuses government of breaching Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Says it's using all the money for its flagship programs and they have a problem with it. President slams foreign ministers, foreign mining firm for deplorable state of mining communities. And Green Republic project to combat climate change. It takes off. We hope that it works. On to our next daily for this morning, the Thursday edition of NewDay. Daily Graphic says, pay 45,000 Ghana cedis to wrongfully jailed teacher. Supreme Court orders government. And 18 royals of Tafo in the morgue for 13 years. State of Akwatia, Takwa and Obuasi is a disgrace to Ghana's development, according to the President of the Republic. And inside, we have a special supplement on banking, as we found elsewhere. Read about it, know how your banks are faring. It's very important. Business find that Ghana's debt management strategy laudable, according to an EcoBank research. And it's time to produce mining inputs locally. The president says so. And 4G light spectrum still available. Who's taking it? We'll tell you more about it later. On to our next daily front page. The Daily Guide says First Lady cuts sword for Children's Hospital. This happened at Kolibu, and it came with all the attendant issues. EC finally holds meeting. Bantama gang rapist jailed 7 years, and Kennedy Japan fights Anas. Okay, so there we have it. The First Lady yesterday had her own set of issues. Certain Sechi Brown Reginald, you heard about
that issue there.
was picked up for holding a placard and saying to the First Lady, look, if you really believe in healthcare like you say you believe in, let's go and open the University of Ghana Medical Center, because it's been there. I don't know why we're holding on to it, but I think it's a bit awkward, if you will.
I think it's in the interest of government to fix this problem. The excuses, for me, are not washing anywhere. I mean, nobody is excited at being told that because of a generating set, or because of, let's say, how do they call it? Is it the power plant or something? Power plant.
Yes. The power station.
The power station. A facility like that is sitting there. You see, why it hasn't washed, for instance, is that Amma is been to the ward several times. Now, the minister's argument about the fact that there will be MRI equipment there, and so you need a generator. Someone would ask, is that the only thing the facility can do, so that if we don't have a generator and so we can't perform MRI operations, can't we do any other thing there that will not require a huge machine, a generator to so for me that issue, for me it's in the interest of government to quickly fix that problem, because by and by people will get upset about the fact that the facility is sitting there and people have to travel outside, spend huge sums of money to go and do the same thing they can do.
Exactly, and it's even more worrying because, I mean, government seems to wait until we organize a press conference to find out what the issues are, and then you come up with excuses. In the same vein, I would expect that after you've given the excuses, because we assume you have solutions, you will start putting in place the solutions and you update Ghanaians on what you're doing. But if you only go silent, we don't hear anything, and then we come and ask and you say, you don't know what is on the ground. I have been on the ground and I know what is happening, and
Tell
it's
me
because
what you're
I don't have A, B, C, D. Okay, so now that we all know, we're all abreast, you've informed us, what are you going to do? And as at now, are you doing what you plan to do? Because we will forget about this issue, because other things will come up, such as A+, such as Kennedy, Japan fighting Anas. We'll all shift the blame, move away from that, only to come back, let's say, in a year's time and ask, oh, UGMC is still not open, and then someone will come and say, yes, it's because another power station now cannot, whatever. It's enough with the excuses. Lives are being lost. Doctors are sitting home because obviously the few hospitals cannot absorb every doctor that has come out or graduated. It can't take every nurse. But if we opened it, like Bright said, in the absence of MRI, Achimota Hospital still works. Other hospitals are still functioning. Yes, it is a tertiary facility, and so it should have certain equipments, but that doesn't mean in the absence of these things we can't open it. Let's start with some parts, because I understand there are other sides of it that are fully furnished and can start operations. Why can't we do that? And whilst we're there, after all, most people move into their homes without it being fully completed. As you are there and you identify some deficiencies, you fix it and you move on.
I tell you what, I found out that the warranty for most of the equipment in the hospital have expired. They are not about it, they have expired. So even if we start using the equipment now, we will notice that there is a problem with it.
We have to find out.
We have to find money to go and fix it, because we can't get it. Number two, as Amma said, I mean, she's a doctor. She works in the hospital. There are so many other things that we can do. Look, there are world-class theaters that have been put up in that particular hospital. Why are we holding on to it? And to be very honest, I mean, rightly as you said, we will talk about these issues, forget about it. What is the level of commitment of the Minister for Health? The last time the issue was mentioned, he fumed about it. He was angry about it.
Yesterday,
beyond the anger,
the ministry's PR seemed to have gotten into the same mood. That people are sitting outside and they don't understand what is going on.
It is not about, you see, right here you said, look, people are dying. And may we not die foolish deaths because of somebody's negligence. People are dying. This is a lot of money, a lot of investments. You don't know. And sometimes, yesterday, I spoke with DSP Efiating of the police service. I was asking what exactly was Sechi Brown Reginald's offense. Okay, he had a placard, he went to the First Lady. If you watch the First Lady's speech, the First Lady paused, momentarily, looked up to him, and then went back to reading. I don't know what the psychologists will say about that, but it's obvious that the First Lady saw the gentleman. For the gentleman to even have gotten a chance to walk so close to the First Lady, it means that the security is a problem. But that's a conversation for another day.
And that, Johnny, that's what the problem is. Because the security details should have ensured that that gentleman did not get closer to where the First Lady was.
So now he gets close to where it is. One would have expected maybe that the First Lady, once she paused, would, for example, maybe respond quickly to the gentleman, and because we've seen Obama do it, we've seen Trump do it, we see all of them, but that didn't happen. That's a conversation for another day. Then he was whisked away and kept at the Kolebu police station, and his lawyer say, well, don't put out a statement, and the issues followed. He was released, yet to report by tomorrow. I asked if I think, look, in other jurisdictions, people protest in similar manner on pressing issues, and they don't get whisked away. She said, this is Ghana. And what is a pressing issue? We have our own laws. And this is what, it's on tape on 3FM 92.7.
So what does the law say?
So I asked, look, have you charged a man? He says it's too early to charge him. We don't know, we are investigating. And I couldn't believe it.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm not a security expert, so I don't know, but where from this is Ghana, Johnny, and we have our own laws, and she said we always have to be on high alert. So this is the high alert, right?
Let me tell you
the high alert where the man breaches the security to get close to the First Lady with a placard. Is that a high alert?
Let me tell you one thing. If the police wants anybody to punish, they should punish the security detail of the First Lady.
I agree.
Period.
That's it.
They should punish those people and leave the gentleman alone.
Yes.
But the overarching issue is that we want the University of Ghana Medical Center active. We don't know, and so right from the top president down to everybody, we don't know who next will collapse around anywhere near there.
Exactly.
We are not too sure.
And well, in that same vein, we're ranting about medical negligence because we've had too many issues coming up, probably because some of these centers haven't been open. If they didn't absorb the right doctors, these things may not just happen.
Yesterday, the medical regulatory, it's not the dental council. There's another one, I've forgotten its name, HISFRA or something. They are supposed to be licensing and they said Obingfo doesn't have the requisite qualification. They are in the process of, so they don't have accreditation to even operate, and they are operating. I ask again, do we have any level of confidence repose in our regulatory authorities? Because when we talk about medical negligence, we only talk about the doctors and the nurses and the pharmacists. How about those who regulate them to be able to set up the thing?
But what's even interesting is when, Dr. Eddie of the Medical and Dental Council comes to say.
I want people to sue.
People do. But
sue them painfully.
After is taking a jail teacher 13 years in jail, and he comes out to get only 45,000 Ghana cedis when he's not the one who raped or, let's say, impregnated a girl. What do you expect when we have such a system?
But I want people to sue. If you go and sue. Take them to court. Sue them. Collect money.
The story on the Daily Guide, the Bantama gang, I think that it should serve as a lesson to people who are fond of taking certain videos and splashing them on social media. The guy has gone in for 7 years. We've been told that the other guys have been taken to some form of, rehabilitation or something. It should be a caution to those who are fond of thinking that, hey, I can just take any picture at all and throw it out there on social media.
Right. But the topic for rant is still medical negligence.
Absolutely.
We're stepping out there to rant with George Quaynon this morning.
A very good morning, and today we are delving into the health sector. 50 cases of medical negligence are recorded annually here in Ghana, and it will surprise you to know that, according to the victims, these cases have not been handled satisfactorily, and the Obinfo case is 1 in a million. Let's Jojo and see how we can end this canker. This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
You know, Dr. Obinfo has a track record of many failures.
Exactly.
You know, from 2013, you know, a whole lot of issues happening. But I think institutions are not working in this country, because if institutions are working, after the closure of Obinfo Hospital, it came back again to come and operate again, and that is a
without license, because his license was revoked.
Yes, and everybody passed there day in day out, sees him operating and other things, and nothing was asked. You know,
but it's not to say that they've not been successful surgeries there. They have been.
Yeah, they've done a lot of things, but their failure, you know, the loss of human being is more precious than something more than any other thing. So I think institutions should work in this country, whereby even there are institutions working, like the immediate start of Dr. Obinfo again in the system would have prompted the medical association for them to come for this thing not happening again. So that is the serious issue that we need to attend to. But I think the problem has to do with because of the toughness of the economy. The economy is very hard. Everybody will be able to survive. You don't care about whether Nipa be who or not. So that is the situation that we are having. Where people move away from passion to enter things that we don't want to do.
Because it's the money. I don't know if there's money.
You understand? You know, when you ask some of our young ladies that why are they into nursing, they said, oh, there's a salary security. You understand?
Exactly.
No, we do things because of, but not the passion of the thing.
You think institutions are not working?
Institutions are not working. The leaders are also not working. It's as simple as that. Now look at this. Dr. Obinfo, or what's his name? Dr. Obinfo's case is one of many.
Dr. Dominic Ando.
See, we have many cases out there. Some time ago,
some go unreported.
That is it. See, there are so many things happening. You see, this guy. It's unfortunate he's been caught, but there are so many people practicing so many things that we've not heard, we've not seen, but things are going on. Let's check this illegal abortion. See, it is going on all over. See, people are dying out of abortion. What are they doing?
Quack doctors.
See, what are they doing? Now look at this thing. There are so many nurses who are not nurses. You get it? See, we have nurses and we have nurses. Now, we have nurses who are not nurses.
I get it.
You understand? I have a friend. I ask her, Charlie, so after school, Charlie, me there's any economy now, or some pay nurse B or get some teacher B, so, you know,
job
to
is
survive.
Ready available.
Right? There is nothing on the table for the youth or for the graduates. So he finished, he completes school. Go for a nursing course 1 or 2, 3 years. He calls himself a nurse.
Okay, let me drop some statistics here. 80% of deaths at hospitals are due to medical negligence, and 50 cases of medical negligence are recorded annually. So the statistics is quite alarming.
Let me just briefly explain what medical negligence is. The act whereby the failure of a medical professional causes unhinged death to a patient, injury or something to a patient. You know, one thing that has to do, if you go to the pharmacies and the drugstores, the chemical sellers, the people who want to attain the certificate to sell the medicine, some of them are dead for a long time. But you go, the nephew is there, the brother is there, all those people are selling medicine. The problem you have in this country is to go to hospital or to go to a pharmacy and tell them that and you don't know the specific medicine that you want.
No, but you know, you can also have someone going to the counter and it's like, okay, I want to buy paracetamol. As if you are a doctor.
No, we know the basic function of paracetamol is for headache, painkillers and all that thing. That is the basic function, you understand. But you know,
so we should blame ourselves.
No, but when you go there are a lot of ignorant people selling. They will sell drugs that are expired to you. They will sell drugs that people don't buy.
Why you can't check expiry dates?
No, it's not that you can't check. So you understand? When we go to hospitals, we know this, some woman. The last time that I checked, a woman who has sold for almost 18 years since I was born, 18 years to now. I realized that she was not the one who went to attend the
I've not gone outside yet.
Inshallah, you go.
But I know for sure that they have a very strict regulations. All right, that's
even veterinary. I can't do that to a dog.
That is it. See, if you have a country who cannot boast of or who cannot boast of 100 ambulance. Do you think they have a tight what was it called policy that tightens or that holds the health sector very firmly?
Okay.
Can we boast of 100 ambulances? No. Go to the villages and see. If someone is pregnant, if it is not an Okada, then it's a taxi. And even getting an ambulance for the person, to go to the hospital is something worrying. You understand? So if we have
at least we are developing the health sector.
No, who is developing? If they are able to buy V8, they sit in is V8 more.
But their security is also
is V8 not expensive than an ambulance?
I don't know. I'm not into automobiles and all that.
V8 is expensive than some. I stand to be corrected. V8 is expensive than an ambulance. But we have government purchasing V8 here and there, but they can't buy ambulance for the hospitals. What about that? You understand? So all these things, and I boom, and it's bringing all these things.
But let me share a story of my school son. I lost my school son in 2007. May his soul rest in perfect peace. He complained of malaria and he went to the hospital. The doctor mistakenly injected him a wrong medicine, and he died. And then the doctor bolted. So the medical negligence.
I think even a lecturer died in GIG, and I think the main cause of his death was
medical negligence.
Yes, because of an injection that was supposed to lead to a lot of factors that cause that. But one thing has to do with we are also ignorant. We don't learn. When we go and buy drugs, we don't read anything. We just go and buy it, and ignorant out of ignorance. Some of us, because of fear, we don't check for our HIV, go for medical checkup. No. These are some of the things that on our behalf we also have a problem with.
Yeah, it's also blame
yourself. Now look. And the next thing has to do with poverty. Poverty.
Now when you go to the nurses or when we go to the hospitals, we have nurses using mobile phone while somebody is sick, lying on the bed.
The person has to get some updates on the
update. We were here when nurses were taking selfies of themselves dancing while patients were lying on the bed. What about that? Who is checking that? Who is checking? Can you go and do this in Europe? Can you go and do this in Europe?
That's why in Ghana.
So you continue to live in Ghana.
Yes, one of my
you understand
that in Ghana we pretend to work and the government also pretend to pay us.
That is it.
Yes, all of us pretend to work and the government also pretend to pay us. You understand? So we have salary that are not satisfactory to people, and people to go to work 8 hours, they just work for 3 hours, and the 5 hours is for their own individual thing. You understand? So but we also have religious factors. Some people believe in religion so much that when they are sick right now of headache, they will go to pastors, they will go to spiritual men and other things. This is another problem, serious problem. Instead of people going to the hospital for daily checkups or medical advice.
That's kind of why
no. But if you go for counseling at the pastors, 300 cities, 200 cities, but they're able to pay. I have a family member that you understand. So these are some of the things that individually we do that also cause a lot of problem to us on our health basis.
And some part of this, we got one toddler who died at St. Gregory Catholic Hospital. I have to mention this hospital, and because the parents were unable to pay for the oxygen mask, the doctor had to pull it out because the parents were unable to pay. I'm like, which heartless doctor is this?
I had a friend who was bitten by a snake. We took him to the hospital. I don't want to mention the hospital's name. It's somewhere in Adenta, Pantan Junction, thereabout. We took him there. Do you know what they were asking? Or health insurance. Only health insurance. Muskawaha. Dabi. Listen, the person was suffering. He was really suffering. They were asking of health insurance. The person had no health insurance. They were asking if he had money to go and fill some forms or folder before he's taken care of. He's been taken care of.
But would I say that this is not medical negligence? It's like we are doing our work.
No.
Money in our hand.
No, just as you were saying that the person was these are some of the things we need to we have to put certain policies in place to take care of that.
Even let's look at a situation whereby a politician or a top professional will consume a lot of money. That will kill a lot of people. That one that we are not talking about. We are talking about. No, we are in a country whereby if you don't have money, you are useless.
That is what I'm talking about.
If you are not financially strong, you are useless. So when we go to church, the people that they invite for harvest are the people who have money. But morally, they are not upright. So if you don't have money, you understand? I was doing statistics to my friend before the show. I told them, Charlie, here because they're not relevant to system.
What do you think should be the best sanction for a doctor that's caused a death through medical negligence? Because when I said 50 cases of medical negligence are reported annually, and all these cases have not been handled convincingly because all those patients are not satisfied. Maybe if I go to the hospital and then I'm wrongly injected and then I get a swollen arm, the case is not handled to my satisfaction.
We should just go back to the Moses law. Eye for eye. What is the other one?
Tooth for tooth.
Tooth for tooth. If he injects somebody wrongly, we catch him and do the same thing to him because he knew it wasn't good and he did it. So we do the same thing to him. He kills, we kill him.
Many people to one doctor.
Yeah, the ratio.
The ratio is very big. You understand? It's causing a lot of pressure on them. So doctors don't have their privacy and all those things. You understand? But when we train more people into the system,
when you're even having time with your wife, it's like come to work.
Come to work. You understand? Oh, but much when you're brainy and I have problem. You understand? So we have to train more people into the system. People who are passion driven into the system. That is one factor. We have to invest into that aspect. Like how we are investing into education, it's not bad. But we have to also invest into that medical aspect of our life, so that people will come into the system. So that at least 10 people to one doctor in future, 10 people to one doctor, another thing. That can reduce the pressure of some doctors and help them attend to people at their right time. And I think that will also help the system.
Well, the public wants all stakeholders in the health sector to rise, provide all the resources to the facilities so they can work in comfort. In so doing, we can avert medical negligence. Let's know what you also think watching home. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's our News TV3. Our WhatsApp number 050-823-5228. Just engage us with your comments. We're always ready to read them and share them with the rest of the world. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
All right, and you have seen the front pages already. Daily Graphic has a story on mining. It is a disgrace to Ghana's development. The state of Akwatia, Takwa, or Boase, that's the big one. The Daily Guide, Kennedy Japan fights Anas, another big one on the front page. The Times carries the mining story. President slams foreign mining firms for deplorable state of mining communities. Also on the Times, minority accuses government of breaching the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. We'll take a look at these stories and more. My guest this morning is a government spokesperson on social infrastructure, member of the NPP, Richard Asante-Yeboah is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing great.
Oh, by the grace, we are doing good.
Thanks for joining us. And then a member of the NDC, member of Parliament for the Damongo constituency, Honorable Adams Mutawakilu is here. Good morning too.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
I'm good.
Thanks for your time too. Now let's take a look at this story from the mining sector. Daily Graphic puts it, it's a disgrace. The Times says President slams foreign mining firm. Now, the state of communities where mining companies in Ghana operate, Obuasi, Takwa, Akwatia, is a disgrace to the country as well as the mining companies. President Akufo-Addo has stated, why is Obuasi not the most beautiful city in Ghana or the world if it hosts the richest gold mine? Why do Takwa and Prestia not look like the golden towns they are? And why does Akwatia's appearance not reflect anything about the diamonds that have been taken from its soils all these years? That's the president asking these questions. He therefore called on players in the mining industry to join hands with the government to help transform mining communities in an intelligent and sustainable manner. So that's the story. Let me also read the second part of this story, where the president turns his attention to illegal mining. So if you go to, page 16 of the Times, the president goes on and says that the ban on small-scale mining as part of measures to address the destruction caused by illegal mining, and indicated that the government was in the process of streamlining the activities of small-scale miners to mitigate the adverse effect of mining on the environment. He said that the government is committed to fighting illegal mining unabated and dismissed claims that illegal miners will not have any work to do if they were made to stop the canker. He said people engaged in illegal mining out of their desire for quick money and not necessarily out of lack of employment, and added that nonetheless the government through One District, One Factory would create jobs for the youth in all communities throughout the country. President touching on mining and then small-scale mining there and the fight against illegal mining. Now, let's start the conversation this way. Honorable Mutawakilu, should we blame ourselves for the state of Akwatia, Takwa, and Obuasi, or we should blame our mining companies?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to our cherished viewers. and more especially the good people of Damongo constituency. And yesterday, to be frank, I was supposed to be there, but
at the function,
I cannot remember getting an invitation, and that I'm supposed to be on the high table, and that I'm supposed to make some few words in respect to that. It was later a journalist called me that my name had been mentioned, and by then we're in Parliament to take this ESLA report. So sorry for not being able to be there. Now, let's come to the topic. I think that it is very important as a country to know that the development of our towns and communities lies with the government. That is very important.
Not the mining company.
Don't shift. I'll analyze it in several ways. First and foremost, government enters into a mining agreement, or we can say a development agreement with an international mining company. In that agreement, they have what we call corporate social responsibility, and they will tell us how much they are expected to invest over a 10-year period in developing the communities, over a 20-year period. What government can do is to evaluate whether they've actually spent it. And let me tell you, all these international mining companies, if you go and see what we have agreed in the agreement and what they have spent, they exhaust it. And they can prove beyond. On the paper. If they said in 10 years they will spend $5 million to put in some as a part of their corporate social responsibility, and at the end of the 10 years, you ask them, have you been able to raise the $5 million to do it? They will let you see detail what they have done. Now, in that agreement, you never said that they should develop the roads, they should do everything. No. And we know that $5 million or $10 million cannot change Obuasi. And therefore, in that agreement, you have an opportunity to tell them, no, this is the amount we think you can invest. They will also look at it vis-a-vis their investment. Because they are here to make profit. They are here to make profit. But let's shift more on government. They pay dividend, you know. They pay corporate tax, you know. The government should be telling us what they have used that money for. It's very critical. They should tell us. Instead of blaming the international mining companies when they have fulfilled their corporate social responsibility, the government should tell us. One, in 2015, we set up this Mineral Development Fund in a bid to ensure that development gets to the grassroots. Under President Mama, he saw that in order to keep this, if we put it a Mineral Development Fund and have a secretariat, then we can hold them accountable for whatever money is given and how it is used. And as a result, committees are to be set up at the various districts in which mining activity takes place. Since this government came, have they sworn in the board? No. No board has been constituted to do it. And you know the board takes decisions. Two, as of last year, what the government promised even to transfer to the various agencies like Mineral Commission, like Geological Survey Authority, they have transferred less per what they receive. Because what they receive was almost 400 million, and they are expecting to transfer, after the capping, to transfer 12.5. As at that time, they had only transferred 3% to the Mineral Development Fund. So you're suffocating development at the community level. So the resources are not being get. It is our own making. The third one is that the mining companies pay what we call surface rentals, and a portion of it is taken to the administration of 2 lands, which goes to the district assemblies. We have GATI, Ghana Extractive Initiative Transparency Initiative. Last 2 weeks, all the money that got to the local assemblies, none of them was used for projects. In fact, they don't form part of the composite budget. They are treated as internally generated funds. And they cannot account for what that money had been used. So I wonder how we should just put this load on the mining companies, and therefore try to portray to Ghanaians that the underdevelopment of Obuasi Takwa is because of the mining companies that are operating there. You know, this thing can trigger arrest. Because when the people start believing that, okay, our road is not constructed because of the mining company. Our B is not constructed because of the mining company. C is not constructed because of the mining company. Tomorrow, anything can happen. The youth can blame the mining company for the underdevelopment in their community.
Is it the suggestion that the mining companies cannot in any way be involved in developing the communities?
They can be involved, and that is why they have their corporate social responsibility. And they have their funds.
But we cannot put all the burden on them.
We can't put all the burden on them. They will say for every ounce, they will pay $2 into the fund. So as they export, or $5 into the fund, as the export is recorded, and that amount is transferred into the fund, and they have the projects. So it put in development of these communities on the mining company. I think the government should really look at it, and the president should ensure that he hold the bull by the horn. They shift blames. We take a lot from these mining companies. We should account how much of it has been used in these mining communities. Very, very important. And rather than putting all the blame on the mining companies.
Richard, so we have ourselves to blame, our governments, right from past government to now. We have to blame ourselves for not making sure that these towns look the way we want them to look.
I think, thank you very much. I couldn't agree with you more that we need to look at ourselves as people, and also look at the efforts of the mining companies and their role in trying to make sure that they, one, project the place they continue to do business, and also do more in terms of their corporate social responsibilities, and also make sure that at least there are certain basic infrastructures that they can provide for the people, because you see their operation continue to inhibit the natives or the people who reside in those areas. And I can give you a good number of them where even the users of micro and other chemicals for mining continue to even create health hazard for the people who live there. I've been to Obuasi a couple of times, and I've been to Johannesburg a couple of times. But I tell you, the situation in Obuasi is an eyesore, complete eyesore. You look at the land, the surface of the land, you look at the roads, infrastructure, terrible shit. You see human beings that who have skin diseases with literally like a scale, like those fishes, that you can literally scrape off the scales from their skin because of some of these chemicals that are used in mining. Like you said, we cannot literally put all our blames or difficulties on the mining companies as governments. Because see, the president was looking at the generational nature of the difficulty that confronts us. The president has been in power for barely a year and a half. So obviously, the issues that you're talking about predates his administration, and it goes into centuries. But let's understand that we've been mining in some of these towns, or Obuasi, Takwa, and other areas, for centuries. Over 100 years we've been mining over there. So ask yourself, the mining companies, you go to other areas where they are equally doing mining, South Africa and other areas, the kind of arrangement they have there, the kind of support they continue to offer these countries, do they do same here? We are talking about corporate social responsibility. There's no capping. There's nothing like a percentage of your resources. You can even do more if you want the community to understand that you are doing it. And moreover, we are also looking at issues that borders on contract. What kind of contractual arrangement have we been getting ourselves involved in over the years? That do we literally hand over the land, the minerals, resources to these people without looking at local content? Until recently, particularly from President Kufuor's era, where we started looking at issues of local content that demands that even any foreign company that comes to this land to do any business ought to have a local partner, trying to grow the local partners. You see the president's anger that, you know what, we've been mining over the years, but it's high time we produce the machinery, the equipment that is used for mining in Ghana. That is a good call from a president, a leader who believes that we need to transform our country. We need to move from the difficulty that confront us. We need to look at how to handle these difficulties. As a government, his party is going to make sure that it's done. However, the aspect that requires the effort of the mining company, that is why he was throwing the challenge to them. That, you know what, we can do more. And I do believe that
they're asking them to do more than have what is in the agreement.
Of course, what you've been doing is
we append our signatures to the agreement and says that do A, B, C, D. But that has not helped. The communities are still the same.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I see, as a country, we've allowed ourselves to be outwitted on several grounds. Even beyond even the contractual decision that is made and the details of it that is signed, that sometimes you realize that it doesn't really take our national interest into consideration, but rather seek to support the foreign companies or entities that come to do business here. There has been a scenario where a company comes in, we give them tax holidays, sometimes for 5 years, 6 years, thereabout. And after the tax holidays, and they've used those, all the things that comes with it, they go about and change their names and come in another shape or form. That this company has been sold to another company or thereabouts. And they come in with a new entity. And that same, that entity equally granted another tax holiday. We've seen it in various sectors. The telcos, we've seen it in the mining sector, we've seen it in other sectors. And as a country, I think the president cares about the good people of this country, in as much as you want to protect the interests of the mining companies, making sure that they have their investment worth. He's equally looking at the people. He's looking at the people of this country. That, you know what, for how long can we continue to sit here and allow our land? Because you see, when we are talking about land being destroyed, water body being destroyed, sometimes we look at the focus only on the small scale mining or miners or possibly the galaxies. But the point is, there have been instances in this country where these big giants have been penalized because of bad mining practices, where cyanides and other things have been used for mining, where caves have caved in on Ghanaian citizens who have died under the earth crisis. What kind of mining practices are they employed? Just recently, you heard it, just recently, we lost people who told their families that they are going to work and bring some money home to take care of the family. When they went and never came back because where they were working, the underground system caved in. What kind of structural integrity was done before these people were shipped into these tunnels? We need to understand all this and appreciate that when it comes to matters of this nature, marrying politics and also, bringing other matters into it and being cynical doesn't help matters. For instance, he was talking about the 3%. The issue the president talks about is not some 3% or 2%. That your 2-3% that you are talking about, let's assume that during President Mahama time you're giving them 100%, which is never the case, because all our budgets over the period have been challenged. But ask yourself, were you able to transform Obuasi? Well, how many roads was your government able to build in Obuasi? Did you change the face of Obuasi? Did you do that? In terms of applying the resources of this country, we have from this PIAC report that in excess of $100 million, even from the oil revenue, meant for development across the country, where you go that the monies have been expended, yet the projects are non-existent. That you go and you're seeing grass, you're seeing goats and other things grazing because monies meant for that were diverted into campaign. We sat in this country and we saw money meant for the oil sector that was supposed to either go to education, health, or agric was used in branding bars. Is the bars branding health exercise? Is this educational exercise?
No. Okay.
Is this agricultural exercise? But you did that in contravention with the Act, the Petroleum Management Act. That requires that these sectors ought to be the areas that we apply these resources. And we are here today talking about some 3% that hasn't gotten to somewhere. Let's sometimes speak through to some of these issues and let Ghanaians understand that the people of Obuasi are currently watching us. The youth of Obuasi some of them continue to trek across the oceans, dying in the sea, because they are not getting jobs. How many jobs are being created in these sectors? What has been done for these people? And let's support government effort in making sure that we change the paradigm. Let's change the story. Let's rewrite a new story. Let's do things that prosperity will be there to appreciate our effort and what we've done for these nations. Let's not continue the same status quo that we've done over the period that has not given any significant improvement and change to these areas that we continue to mind.
We'll come to take a look at the second part. Okay, a quick reaction from
you
them.
See, the first and foremost, former President Mawa is forward-looking. Expected the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, to give her what he will do. The President Mama realized that these communities are not being developed because all the money goes to central government. He said, okay, 2015, let's set up what we call Mineral Development Fund. That will ensure that at least a certain percentage of this money trickles down and ensure that it's implemented.
This money ended up in your campaign. It never got to anybody.
We never, last year you got almost 400 million. 12.5%. You.
No, what did you use that money for? Tell me what you used the money for.
400 million was 2017.
Tell me what you used the money for.
12.5 was to go to the Mineral Development Fund to ensure that it works. As we sit, the board hasn't been constituted. How will it work?
The Mineral Development Fund.
The president should have said, let me come. The oil money he talked about is not money that had been released. You are in power. Go and audit. Ensure that this money had been used and prosecute the people.
That
is why you have been voted to power. Do you get my point? That is why you have been. Look, that is why you have been voted to power.
What misappropriation?
Let me tell you this. In Parliament, they say we'll execute this project. Doesn't mean that at the end of the year there will be the resources to execute. So if we say we'll execute this project at $50 million, this project at $50 million, at the end of the year, there are no resources to execute it.
The money was there, the money was chopped.
Go and do your audit and prosecute. But you know what is happening.
You did ghost projects all over the country.
This time, it's 1 week, one scandal.
You understand? The project that
1 week, one scandal.
You were chopping the money left and center.
NIA, scandal.
Please.
$178 million. Now, your president, Nana Akufo-Addo, is being pocketed because of $5 million. Today, Ghana Port and Harbour scandal going on. National NIA, National Identification Authority,
and also
a project that were to execute for $115 million. You are executing it for $1.22 billion.
If you're a member of parliament, you also that it did not cost the country.
Let me take a break, and when I am back, we'll talk about the second part of the president's story about illegal mining, small scale. Stay with us. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for staying there. Now, the president did not stop there. He again stressed government's commitment to ending illegal small-scale mining and said that the processes to streamlining the activities of small-scale miners is very soon expected. And he also mentioned one district, one factory as one of the ways to employ those engaged in small-scale mining. So, Rachel, let me quickly come to you. The second part of the president's address was on this ban on mining, small-scale mining, and said that the program to streamline and regulate small-scale mining is almost through and will very soon be let out. The small-scale miners have been complaining about the fact that they've been asked to stop for a very long time. How readily is government to come out with this and get them back to work?
Thank you very much, Bright. I think I appreciate the concerns of small-scale miners, particularly those who have been granted the right legal frameworks to operate. And those that we've had issues with over the period have been those who do not have the necessary licensing. And I think that they ought to bear with government to try and rescue the environment and also rescue our water bodies, and particularly the huge investment that we've made in the various water plants across the country. You realize that most of these water plants have been shut down because of the fact that the source of supply to these plants have been destroyed. by small-scale miners and sometimes mostly by these galamseyers. And I think the government is trying to find a way of streamlining it. You see, there are three things that we ought to do as a people. We need to save the situation now, protect our investment, and also protect and save the future. And that is the desire of this government. It's essentially the president at every given opportunity has said that there is time for us to understand that we can look at our personal interests, but looking at those, we ought to look at the larger interests of the population. And so whatever we do, let's look at its repercussion on the environment and everybody that lives within that community. So I do believe that, like the president indicated, within the next couple of, I think, months or so, these issues will be ironed out and people will be made to go into their operation, but with stricter regulation to make sure that those who have the right licenses go out there to do the needful, without breaching the laws and also destroying the water bodies. I'm sure there will be proper guidelines as to where the distance between where you mine and water bodies. Those things will also come. And also land reclamation. We know that the Forestry Commission under Sir John, Mr. Kojo also free, they are doing some amazing work out there, planting trees and all that, trying to make sure at least whatever we lost over the years, we try to get them back, because that's the only way forward for us as a people. The next thing that I want to address had to do with the concerns of the president that we are trying to find ways of creating jobs, because all these things, most of them, we hear people talk about the fact that because they do not have job opportunities, that is why they were attracted to these sectors. I mean, particularly to go into this illegal mining and all that. The president has indicated that, you know what, we are starting from a particular angle where we are working at various levels to bring this one district, one factory into being. There are other programs that are being rolled out to act as a stopgap measure. For instance, the NACO, where people are being enrolled at various modules to provide some moment of respite for the people, whilst government look for permanent arrangement for these people. There are other areas that government continue to open up the space to employ. MPP government has indicated that we are going to create the enabling environment for private sector to thrive. That is why you realize that when we came, we particularly look at things that will reduce cost of production. That is why we tackled the cost of electricity. That at the moment we are making sure that residential consumers are getting a reduction of 17.5%, non-residential consumers are getting a reduction of 30%. We're having the first year tariff users getting 25% reduction, and the mines equally getting 10% reduction in terms of the power cost. All in line to try and reduce the cost of production, working around the clock to make sure we reduce base rate. That would have cumulative effect on interest rate, that banks can drop their rate in terms of how much they charge on their facilities or loan they give to businessmen. So at least they can equally invest more, plow back most of their profit into their business and expand, thereby creating the needed jobs for the teeming youth of this country. Government continue to engage. You should realize this, one of the arrangements with this NAPCO requires that a private sector can engage these people from the NACO arrangement, where you can take people, but when you take them, the first year you have a moment where government will pay for the service of these people. Second year you pay the 50%, government pay 50%. The third year you are supposed to pay the entire amount. However, when the third year comes to an end, you are required under the law to take not less than 50% of the people that you took on to work within your establishment. Government is also looking at granting tax incentives to private companies that will engage fresh graduates. All these things are in line with trying to make sure there's a definitive plan in place to engage a lot more people, encouraging the Ghanaian youth to also go into entrepreneurship through the NEPT and all these other programs that would provide some incubation and other education, and also financing. We remember government gave $10 million as a seed capital and asked them to leverage on that to raise a capital of about $100 million to literally help push that sector. And John Kuma and his team are doing an amazing job over there. So I think government has a clear mandate and there's a clear plan that this is the way forward and this is how we want to approach things. In terms of road construction and all that, I know contracts have been awarded for some of the roads in Obuasi and other parts of the country. Kumasi roads are being done. We know Accra roads, most of the areas are being corridor being asphalted, or some of the parts have been done. We know what is happening at even Malam area there. Some work is going on there. We know when you go to Achimota area there, some amazing works are going on there, because government has said that we ought to make sure that we do serious work in terms of infrastructure across the country. The desire of this government is not only to look at mining companies coming in to make money and also take the products and go out of the country, and without adding value to it. That is why you see that they are looking at integrated aluminium project, where we are literally making sure that, at least even particularly with the bauxite, we are going to add value to them in here. So all in all, the desire of this government is to make sure that Ghanaians benefit from the mineral resources that we do have here. We make sure that at least we are not shortchanged. All the agreements that have been signed over the period that this government could not do anything about, I mean, let's find a way of righting the wrongs of the past and make sure that going forward we have proper and formidable structures and also contracts in place that can cure some of this mischief that we've seen over the period.
Okay, I'm grateful. Honorable Tawakilo, so the president also touched on small-scale mining and said that efforts are being made to streamline that activity.
Yeah, thank you very much. We must be very clear when we talk of small-scale mining. There are two categories. We have the legal one. They have obtained license from Mineral Commission with approval from Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. Then those that are illegal. Clear. In banning small-scale mining, all these groups were banned, whether legal or illegal. So let me address first the legal one then. The legal one, they have legally acquired the place. And they are banned because they thought that there should be need for restructuring. I expected government to make some provision to compensate these people as a result of loss of time, loss of resources, because these people have gone for loans to execute that project. And today, the banks will be calling on them to pay. So what happens then? So in every government that is concerned for the people will always make a compensation package so that they are still brought back to the level at which they were some years ago. Two, illegal mining didn't start today. It started a long time. And under former President Mahama, he fought against illegal mining. Seriously. Two, he saw that the laws, that is the Minerals and Mining Act 703, was not punitive enough when it comes to illegal mining. So in 2015, it was amended to ensure that it's punitive. That is the move he made. Now, yes, another government came in. They pronounced, they had support from all the political parties. I've not seen any political party. The move was made by Richard Sky, the media. They came to Parliament, we all signed. It was read in Parliament, we supported it, and it's kick-started. Yes, some years down the lane, there are certain indicators that should tell us that the illegal mining is down. One, Ghana Water Company still indicates that they cannot process water because of the turbidity level of the water. Two, the minister last year, when invited to Parliament to answer questions on illegal mining, couldn't mention one site that had been closed. So while fighting against it, there must be certain indicators that goes a long way to tell you that we are achieving resource. And those indicators, as we speak today, are not showing. So I want to urge the government to relook at it and see how they will be able to tackle it very properly. Two, Mineral Commission is mandated by law to ensure that all these things do not happen. And therefore, we need to resource Mineral Commission to be able to stand on its feet very well. Today, Mineral Commission's internally generated funds is being capped at 64%. So that means 36% government takes it, and they only get 64%. So if we want to move forward with this arrangement, I'm very sorry to say that, hey, it will be a battle. Governments should release more funds. They should uncap mineral commissions funds so that they have enough resources to be able to have structures at the ground, to be able to resource them, to be able to act promptly. All these activities that's going on is as a result of our inability to monitor and ensure that the right thing is being done. The government indicated 1 district, 1 factory will absorb. How many of them do we have now after almost 1.5 years down the lane? We can mention one. So it's not lip service. I believe that in 2017, the president said it clearly that by the end of last year, 51 factories would have been established.
See,
and as at the end of last year, not even one.
Don't misquote the president.
Do you want me to
no, I mean, don't misquote the president.
Please, don't interrupt. They will give you the opportunity to respond. They will give you the opportunity to respond.
The moment that we are in now,
please. You see, he is and when we were analyzing,
completely false. I mean, the man is misquoting the president. And
he said 51 factories will be set up as at the end of last year.
Please.
As we speak today,
that's not what the president said. That's not what the president said. And remember, we have 4-year mandate to deliver on our promise.
Excuse me.
So why do you want to say that?
Why don't you wait until I finish? Why can't you wait? You are panicking, my brother. You are panicking. You are panicking. I can see so much on truth here. Don't be careful.
Richard, if you can just calm down, I'll come to you.
He indicated that the 1 district. So how long can the youth wait in the house doing nothing? And at the end of the day, you say you provide.
But I'm giving you what the government is
doing. The idle hand is the devil's workshop. And that is why it translates to criminal activities. Let me also make it clear. He mentioned NAPCO and all that. NAPCO is the same as National Youth Employment Issue. There must be infrastructure to absorb this youth. University of Ghana Hospital is sitting there, completed, commissioned. 597 beds.
Says it is not completed.
It's look at the excuses they gave. First, they said they needed 6 million. Because they needed 6 million to do it.
2 days
it became something. The deputy minister of health said that because that infrastructure belonged to some individual, especially the former VC. It came out that is not, it didn't know the registration of companies. They came out that it didn't have a standby generator, and that is why it couldn't work. It came evidently that there are 2 standby generators. So all the excuses you gave for no opening date has been proved wrong. Meanwhile, there are equipments there, well equipped.
I thought we could touch on, Richard, if a quick reaction, just 1 minute for you. You wanted to clear something what he said the president mentioned.
I think
the president
when we are quoting the president, we need to quote him right. Remember, government came into power January 2017. The first budget of the government was read somewhere in April because remember, we're serving the supplementary budget presented in 2016 by the NDC. So indeed, this government's own activity that you could finance and appropriation and everything being passed on that came to effect June 2017. So it tells you that in terms of putting physical infrastructure in place, the president at no point said that by end of 2017, you will see factories in place. He said before the end of 2017, you see what's been done to make sure that we commence the process for 51.
So
and that was happening. I mentioned 51, and I'm saying that activities will be done in terms of making sure that all the necessary paperwork, identifying the site, and also putting all this in place will be done before the end of 2017, and that happened.
Okay, so
remember,
you are suggesting that he said that plans for 51 would have been ready.
Yes,
not 51
factories will be built. How do you do that?
Our viewers, the president voice is added, so our viewers will
listen. The next one. I mean, we need to understand that this government has 4-year mandate. So this attitude of the NDC trying to tell Ghanaians that within the first 1 year or 6 months of this government being in power, all our promises or how our contract with the government, the people of this country ought to be achieved, it's something unthinkable. I tell you, within this period, we mentioned to the people that when we come in, we do free education. We've done that. We told the people that when we come, we reduce electricity tariff. We've done that. We told the people that when we come in, we restore nursing training allowance. We've done that. We restore teacher training allowance. We've done that. We told the people that when we come back, we'll try and make sure that the paperless system and all these things are in place. We've started those processes and it's ongoing. National identification thing, the process have started, it's ongoing. We told the people that...
People are listening to you.
Of course. And Bright, you know that all the things that I'm saying are in place. We told the people that when we come, in terms of fight against corruption, we'll institute the special prosecutor. It has been done. Okay. So I hope you're getting me. There are good lot of things that we told the people that we are going to do, and it's being done across the country.
Okay.
So when somebody comes to sit here and he mentions that he requires us to finish everything that we said in our manifesto on this hospital thing, if President Mahama indeed and the NDC thought that the hospital was indeed ready for usage, they went there and inaugurated the place and said it was ready to use. How come they did not get the place operational before leaving? Because they did that for political expediency. Because in the moment of losing the election, when the man was, you've been in the process to recruit everything in the world, but you never achieved anything. When I'm saying that now a lot of things have been done and things are still being done around that place. Right. Let me tell you, when the man was busily flying all over the space because he was thinking of wanting to win an election, which he lost beyond repairs in a way, at the moment he got confused and went down there to go and cut the so because he thought that he could influence the votes that would come from 1,000. The people saw that the man was just lying to them. The same thing they did across the country. That so when the moment they lost elections.
The point is that
right.
That is history. It is gone. The facility is settled there. There are concerns that...
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Is the facility ready?
Right. I agree with you perfectly.
Yes.
And I equally want to call on the Minister of Health. And I've heard that within today or tomorrow, he will give Ghanaians updates and also when the whole place is going to be reopened for usage.
Let me just say something. Let me just the one district. I have it here.
No, a minute.
25th August,
right,
2017.
Right, a minute.
City FM online. 51 district to get factories by end of 2017. Nanadu.
You are talking
that
about,
is it.
You are
Look
talking about
it.
somebody headline. You are talking about a media outfit and headline.
You are doubting media outfits.
Please.
City.
But are they infallible? Right. In terms of the facility, if the NDC, within the moment that they were in government, could not let the place be operational, and the government has come and is checking to make sure. Well, the point is that I, as a Ghanaian, would want every penny the government has invested.
What is government checking?
And why is government giving excuses and every excuse is wrong?
You know exactly what government is checking.
Government is giving excuses, and those excuses are being proven wrong.
When we came in, I think there were things that were told earlier on.
They were not
initially were told that the place was not ready and certain facilities were not in place. Whilst they were saying it, there were team working around it in terms of power, installation of transformers around
it's
the
not
place.
there.
All this has been done. It was done under the MPP regime. I hope you're getting me. In terms of this generator set, we
have to wrap up.
So the NDC, don't get confused with their lies.
No, I'm not confused.
And I'm surprised with this, my brother. In the moment of fasting, he's still lying. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. He's still lying in the moment of fasting. I
want us to touch on some other issues, but we've run out of time. We've run out of time. Yes, we've run out of time.
Because they are breaching the petroleum revenue management.
Seriously.
You are breaching
when you are scared, you are condemning using our funds to finance free education. You are condemning it.
No,
you use it to brand buses. You chop the money. You don't. The money that you're supposed to construct projects across the country.
Prosecute
for your campaign.
$78 million.
That you are not
for your time.
$1.2 billion.
If you are caught, the only thing you can do is Sundays are supplying you to in jail.
$5 million to
I agree for your time. Richard Asante Yeboah is government spokesperson on social infrastructure, a member of the NPP. and Honorable Mutawakilu is a member of parliament for the Damango constituency, a member of the MBC. I'm grateful for your time. Stay with us, we couldn't discuss much. It's Thursday, we're winding up the week, so we're going slowly. There is some more interviews on the show right after this. We're back.
Favorite, you know, I have my biases, but you know then that the multiple award-winning musician who's seen it, done it, heard it, travel around the world, Cincinnati first-class citizen is in the house. Ochame Kwame, your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Welcome, bro.
Yes.
How you doing? Swag as always, man.
Thank you.
This is sweet. This one, what is it? The beats?
Yes, this is the beats. This is the, you know, it's taken from the Akan culture. So it has the Sidie and the whole thing, you know, royal.
Ochame Kwame, regal Ochame Kwame. Yes, but it's not here to talk about music. We're talking about arts, but you know, to a different light. The Kufuor Foundation.
Yes.
It's such an amazing initiative. But for those who don't know about it, what is it? What is the Kufuor Foundation?
So the Kufuor Foundation is a foundation set up by His Excellency ex-President J. Kufuor after his reign, in his 8-year reign in Ghana. Okay. And even though he's growing old, instead of tending his back garden or sitting down and enjoying his grandchildren, he rather continue his passion for leadership and rather to invest in the youth. So he has about 60-something young people that he has personally paid school fees to graduate level, and then now what he's working on is trying to build a leadership and a governance center at Legon to give to Ghanaians for free, the Kufuor Leadership and Governance Center. Yes, and he's turning 80 in December.
8 December.
Yes.
That's it.
So what he has asked us to do, a few young people and some marketers, is to come together and come up with strategies that can help him raise 80 million Ghana cedis for him to finish the school and do all the other great things that he's doing in the area of leadership.
I see.
So that's why I'm here.
So that's 80 in 80.
80 for 80.
Wow, yes. 80 for 80 rather. Yes. So what are we doing to achieve this speed?
To achieve this, about 3 weeks ago, the foundation was launched properly. And our first event after the launch is happening tomorrow. It's a 3-day art festival, AU Art Festival, that we have organized about 40 painters, sculptors, poets, musicians, guitarists, and we are all meeting at the Plush Golden Tulip Hotel, and from 9 to 9 every day, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and tomorrow between 10 and 12 will be the lunch where ex-president himself will come and sign some of the art.
I see.
Yes, and then we are going to auction them, and the monies that we will raise, we will take it into the foundation so that the building at Legon can continuously continue in its building state. And then apart from that, we have chosen only young and not inexperienced, experienced but not very popular artists, so that his signature on the artworks would change the price from a beautiful art piece to a state of the art art piece, because there's a statesman on it. And his association with these young artists will also boost their morale and help them to even to rise up.
Exactly. Interesting. I see that the Kufuor Foundation has already sponsored over 20 students in the universities to get scholarship. That's brilliant. And then on Saturday, what's happening?
And then on Saturday, so on Friday from 10 to 12 is the lunch where Right Honorable
Michael Okwe,
Speaker of Parliament will come, and also he will also sign some of the artworks. And then from Saturday in the morning at 9, we'll continue till 9. There'll be music, there'll be dance, there'll be food, traditional music, music from all the whole Ghana tradition. So it's an artistic Ghanaian experience, which was happening on Sunday.
Who can be there at this art exhibition?
Everybody can be there, and the admission is free. Exactly. So from 10 to 12 tomorrow, that is the launch. Everybody can still be there.
Should be there.
But we have invited the Minister of Tourism, called the mayor, we've called a lot of people. But when you are coming, bring a check. Because we are doing this so that we can have a leadership center in Ghana, the first of its kind in Africa. Then it can be replicated in other AU African countries. So when you are coming, bring a check.
Bring a check.
Bring a check.
A fat check.
Fat check.
So we're able to push
exactly,
this.
and you will not write it to me. Write it to the J.A. Kufuor Foundation, the Jack Foundation, and then they'll give me small for organizing this. But all of it is
going
into building a leadership center.
I mean, I've seen the team, Professor Jan Baffoud, sweet, gentleman.
Yes.
President Kufuor says he's a professor who's gone on retirement who feels like a young boy.
I know. I mean, I'm working with a 60-year-old man, and he's calling you at 12 midnight. He's calling you 6 in the morning, and he is on point. He's like a jack of all trade. He knows about almost everything: security, marketing, branding. He is
everything.
Amazing. So he thinks that he's using my energy, but I am tapping his wisdom.
Absolutely, I get it. So the Kufuor Foundation rehashing this. The art exhibition is happening when?
It's happening from tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 10 to 12. That's a launch.
10 to 12.
Where exactly?
And then from at Golden Tulip.
Golden Tulip.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and then Saturday and Sunday too. You can come. Walk-in admission is free, but when you are coming to buy art. Bring cash. Bring a check.
How expensive can the art be?
It depends. We are hoping to auction the first 10 pieces for say $100,000 each. And then beyond that, any amount of money that you have, you can buy something small.
Something small.
Yes, you can buy
like the nice beads you have on your hand.
Exactly. Or you can buy a small, a small artifact, or you can buy a big painting. You're going to have big sculptures of giraffes and elephants and things. It's going to be amazing. So you just need to come there and come and experience Ghanaian. So I think that this is not something that we are doing for this year. We hope to continue it. And then in the next 5 years, it should be in a stadium.
Absolutely. You have that stadium ambition.
Yes.
Anyway, Ochame Kwame, thank you very much. Before you go, I got a few fan mails asking, when is Ochame Kwame releasing
something? I'm telling you, my son has been warning
now your attention seems to have shifted slightly from music. You're doing a lot more social enterprise, providing water for people, looking at education, brand ambassador for this Kufuor Foundation. Have you left music?
No, I haven't. But it's just like we're saying earlier on, you need to scratch where it itches. Where
scratch the people where they itch.
Exactly. Scratch the people where they itch the most. And I think that yes, I've done some music in the past, but at this moment, I've just come to the realization that it's not just about making the people dance, making them feel good. It's time to roll up the sleeves, jump into the gutter, and go into development. That's why I'm almost a part of everything. I think that the era where I'll do the music again will come when I feel satisfied with development. But from the 1st of July, which is Republic Day,
something is happening.
Yes, I hope to drop the whole album or a few singles of the album called Made in Ghana. So expect me on the 1st of July.
1st of July. Okay, it's going to be a date step.
Yes.
But between you've crossed over now into social enterprises, brand ambassadorial roles. How has the experience been like for you? You go into the hinterland, you find people who don't have water, and you honestly want to help them, and you're looking at the situation.
Yes. So currently, I'm working with Solidaridad and the World Bank on the After Galamsey project.
And re-greening Ghana project.
Exactly. And when you go and you hear the stories, you hear the fact that the whole problem is embedded in there. It's in the constitution, it's in the culture, it's in the people, it's in the leadership, it's everywhere. So if you are a farmer, a cocoa farmer, and you find out that there's gold under your cocoa farm, the gold belongs to the government.
The government,
it's not yours.
Yes.
Or if you
the
find
president holds it in trust for the people.
Exactly. If you find a big timber tree on your farm, it doesn't belong to you. So what happens is that you report to the authorities, and then they will write a letter from Accra and give the consignment to a contractor to come on your farm and cut down this tree and drag it through your cocoa to destroy about 100 trees whilst he takes it away, and then you get nothing. So you know what happens when people see these things? Instead of reporting it to the authorities, they will rather ring around it for it to fall down and decay, or they will collect, or they will call the Chinese people for them to come and help mine and share the profit.
profits.
So these are some of the of the actual problems that we're facing. I remember that we went to a place called Jomoro.
Okay.
And then
the Western region.
Yes, and then we sat down with some of the young people who are now unemployed because of galamsey. Right. And then they asked me, I told them that one of the things destroying the land is galamsey, and they almost beat me up.
Wow.
Because the question is options.
Okay. What alternatives are there?
What are we to do now? So I'm talking to them about entrepreneurship, and they are talking about what are we? We are not an SME. How can I apply for a loan? What, you know, so
I wish you all the best in your endeavors. And tomorrow we'll be there at the Golden Tulip Hotel, 10 to 12. Support the JAK Foundation. But thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Charlie,
absolutely. I wish you all the best. My best to the family.
Yes,
and I told you, Sir is a better rapper than you.
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yeah. So let's take a break now. We'll listen to some of Ochame Kwame's music. Happy birthday to Reverend Father Robert Atopi. You like Ochame Kwame? Good morning to you. And to Benjamin Alpha, it's your birthday. To both of you, happy birthday. Take a look at this. Enjoy.
Well, today marks World Tobacco Day, and of course that talks about smoking. Some people have become addicted to smoking and it's very difficult to break off. We'll be talking more about this issue, but in Takrady we step out to interview someone who has been smoking for many years and to see how best he's been able to deal with it. Let's go and watch this.
Tobacco Day, and as it is done each year on May 31, the day is set aside to highlight the health and other risks associated with tobacco usage across the world, and also come out with effective policies that will minimize the use of tobacco. The day is also set aside to encourage a 24-hour abstinence from all forms of tobacco usage across the globe. Now, this year's focus is on tobacco and heart diseases. I have with me a gentleman who has been smoking for the past 7 years, and I'm going to find out from him how life has been since he began smoking, what even encouraged him to smoke, and other issues. Yofi Eisen is the person that I'm speaking with. Yofi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Tell me the story, how it began.
It began somewhere 2011 in Accra when things were not going the way I wanted them to go, when life was beating me up and down. That was how come I started smoking, because I met a lady who was also into smoking, and at a point I wanted to commit suicide because the way things were going, it wasn't funny. So as she was into smoking, she introduced me to smoking, and it has been that since.
Oh, okay. So when you first took your first puff, how was the feeling?
It wasn't nice, but I think it did the magic, so I stayed glued to it.
Did the magic as in?
As in, it calmed me down. Things were going through my mind. I kept thinking. I was like, why is life like this? Why blah? Why this is not working? Why are things not going my way? But anytime I take in the smoke, it calms me down, and I tell myself everything will be fine.
But the problems don't go away, do they?
It doesn't. But for a while it calms you down, and I think that was what I'd wanted.
So are your parents aware that you are smoking?
My mom is not aware, and my kid sister, I don't think she's aware. Though she heard it a couple of times, she asked me, but seeing me smoking, no, she hasn't.
Okay, what about where you work?
My workplace, I don't think some, like my buddies, some know, because I'm one real person. So some know, but not everyone knows that I smoke.
So how is it that you've been able to hide this for the past 7 years?
It's not as if I've been able to hide it. I don't smoke in public. The health implication that comes with smoking. So I don't enjoy putting people at risk. So I don't smoke in public.
Okay. Tell me, ever since you took to smoking, even though you say it is a getaway for you, have you experienced any health risk?
Never.
Never.
I've gone for checkups, and sometimes when I go, I expect the doctor to tell me, oh, you are doing this and you have to stop. And funny enough, They check my system and they go like, oh, everything is fine. The only thing they complain is I'm putting on weight, so I should check it. That is the only thing they tell me.
Is it because of the rate at which you smoke? Are you a chain smoker? Do you smoke every day?
I smoke according to how my day goes. If my day is okay, I'm okay. If it's not okay, it comes in.
So take for instance, Monday your day is bad, Tuesday your day is bad, Wednesday your day is bad, Thursday your day is bad, Friday your day is bad. You will smoke.
Yes, but God being so good, it doesn't go that way. It doesn't go that way. So, you know, and sometimes smoking comes in when I'm too tensed. Then, you know, I just take a stick and I'm okay.
Okay. Have you ever considered quitting smoking?
Yeah, I'm not a proud smoker. If I was a proud smoker, I'll be smoking for people to know I smoke. Even getting me here, you know how difficult it was. I know what it might cause in the near future. So it's something I'm putting in place just to quit smoking.
So when was the last time you smoked?
When was the last time I smoked?
Yesterday, over the weekend.
Today is Wednesday. Today is Thursday.
Yes.
Let's say Monday, Tuesday.
No. Oh, okay. Is it difficult for you to stop?
Very difficult. You know, smoking is addiction. And when you say you're addicted to something, you know how difficult it is. But I'm trying my best. The rate at which I used to smoke before is not like now. You know, I think it has reduced. And as time goes on, I'll reduce, and quit.
Mm-hmm. How you started probably could be a problem. You say that because you are going through a lot of life challenges, that's why you took to smoking. So does it mean that should you stop, or if you're able to stop and you get to a stage in your life where life is difficult, you go back to smoking?
You know, when you do something and you know how the thing is, you don't go back doing them again, because they say I've smoked. If I should quit smoking today, I know how it feels like when you smoke.
Yofi, I'm dead certain that there are a lot of people who are in your situation. Somebody who has been smoking for a long time and wishes to quit. Somebody is also probably going through the stage that you were and is considering taking up smoking. As we celebrate World No Tobacco Day, what advice do you have for such a person?
If you're watching me this morning and you're going through challenges like what I went through some years back and you're considering smoking, I'll say no to it, because smoking is not a good thing. It's one addiction that when you go into it or you find yourself in it, coming out becomes very difficult. What I'll tell you is rather go on your knees and speak to God. Then I didn't know God that much. I would have, spoken to him for him to make a way. And if you're already in it and you want to quit smoking, it's not that easy. But I believe you can quit smoking as I am trying to quit smoking. So what you have to do is check your friends around you. If they are also into it, if they are chain smokers, if they are the people that draws you into smoking each and every day, just cut them and you can do the magic.
Okay, Yofi, thank you so much for spending your day with us. And so as we celebrate World No Tobacco Day, the advice is that if you feel like, or if you are tempted to smoke, go on your knees, pray to God, and I'm sure he will give you the answers that you seek. If you are not able to do that too, maybe try and check your friends around you, as he puts it, or also try to draw inspiration from other things other than going to smoke.
And I think that's good advice, but we'll be delving into it more with Dr. Dennis Odai-Laye. He is the Program Manager for Non-Communicable Diseases at the Ghana Health Service. Good morning, Dr. Laye.
Morning.
So, from what Yofi said, addiction is real, and it doesn't go just in a day. You get up and you say, I want to stop, and you stop smoking. So we would look at some of the preventive measures so you don't even get there. But let's start off with some of the effects of smoking.
Thank you very much. And I think his presentation brought out some very useful points, why people even start smoking. So first of all, he mentioned stress, which is very true. But I think that before we even look at the medical effects, we have to also explore why people smoke. So stress is one of them. Anything that is stressing you, it could be the Accra stress, it could be work, it could be financial issues,
it could be relationships.
Anything, These, if you're not able to cope with, for some, smoking helps. And as he rightly said, you get that relief for the time you've smoked and for a short period, but your problem will not go away. And the danger with cigarette smoking is that there's nicotine in there, which is addictive. So once you become addicted, then there are other issues. Of course, if it's socially acceptable, if you're in a group where, or you come from a society where people smoke, like in some parts, some countries I've traveled to, smoking is normal. You stand in the bus at a bus stop, a lot of people are smoking. So that makes it easy for you to take it up. And then peer pressure, particularly for the younger ones, the adolescents and the young adults. It's very easy for them to fall prey to these if their colleagues are smoking. So these are some of the things we need to look at. I mean, if you come from a home where a parent is smoking, for example, then it's also possible that you take it up. So these are the risks, or some of the risk factors we need to consider. But coming to the medical effects, I mean, there are a host of them. So there are the immediate ones. You could have the medium and the long-term ones. The immediate ones, as he said, when he smoked, apart from the euphoric effect, they can also, have problems with their airways. So they could start coughing or have some breathing difficulties. But beyond that, it can affect their blood vessels. So they could have issues with high blood pressure, for example. There are some studies which suggest that smoking actually increases your risk of your cholesterol level going up. So if you combine that with the fact that your blood pressure has gone up, then it means that your risk of developing other complications like a stroke, for example, is possible. And then the dangerous ones, so the cancers, virtually, or most cancers are linked, or your risk is higher if you smoke. Lung cancer is definitely the main one. But then there are other cancers, female cancers, for example, cancer of the uterus. The risk is higher for women who smoke compared with those who don't smoke. And then if you come to pregnant women, or a woman who smokes and during pregnancy is smoking as well, there's a risk to the unborn child. So they are likely to have a child who is born premature, so they may not go the full 9 months, which is expected. The child is likely also to be born with low birth weight. And then they are also likely to have some abnormalities, like their lips, they will come with their lips have what we call the cleft lip, or part of their mouth part also split. So these are some of the effects, the medical effects of smoking.
Right, but there's also this craze and this fantasy about hashish, smoking the shisha. And people seem to think that it's not tobacco and so big deal. What's, this fuss about when doctors are talking about? But tell us the real implications of having this shisha and how much it compares to smoking a cigarette.
Thank you very much. I'm happy you brought shisha up because, it's one of those fashionable things that has come up. I remember in my days in the university, it wasn't even a normal sight to see females taking in alcohol. But now, you see females in a group and they are smoking shisha. Young adults. And there's this false sense of security that shisha is not harmful. The truth is that shisha is probably much more harmful than tobacco.
Why do you say that?
So some studies have suggested or found evidence that if you a session of shisha, which is about an hour, is equivalent to more than 100 sticks of cigarettes in terms of the chemicals and the toxins you are taking in. So, but I think that part of it is also because shisha is, most of these are, they are flavored. So it's either mint flavored or some fruity flavor. So people, when you have this smell around you, a smell is always deceptive. It can make you feel that this is not like tobacco,
right?
But in actual fact, it contains tobacco, and it also contains nicotine. So it means that all the addictive things that come with smoking cigarettes can also come with taking in shisha. So it is in no way a safer alternative to smoking cigarettes.
But in light of this and the talk, I guess for most people, we're speaking about smoking cigarettes, but other stakeholders also come to play. If you don't make it available, then people cannot access it. So concerning that, what is Ghana Health Service doing to try to bridge that gap?
The issue about tobacco is beyond the health service. It's not just a health sector issue. If you look at it, the health sector is at the end of the spectrum because people have to be able to get it. It has to be available to them for them to smoke and start getting the health effects before we come in. Right. Of course, we can educate people not to take up smoking. And I think that the gentleman in your video did make it clear that, look, whatever your reason for wanting to take up smoking, don't. Because once you get addicted, it's more difficult. So it's not just the health sector issues. There are some countries where the price build-up, over 80% is tax. So that means that over 400% of the tax taxation, or that is the component. In Ghana, taxation is about 150% or so. So we need to look at the supply end. I mean, in the 80s, you could see tobacco being advertised on TV. That is not being done now. We're not doing outdoor advertising. So there are processes in place. And currently we have a regulation on tobacco, which was passed last year. I think it has about an 18-month period for it to take full effect. Right. So issues about smoking in public places is not allowed. If it's an enclosed place, it's not. If it's a designated smoking area, there are certain things that are required to be met. So these are some of the things we have to do. And of course, the public must be educated on their right to insist that the public place.
Right. But finally, just teach us how to prevent this.
I think that first of all, we must know that smoking is harmful. So we should have that at the back of our minds. And once we know that, then if there are any other issues, you mentioned prayer, there are other activities you can also engage in which will take off, which will take your mind off the stress, and so that you don't get yourself involved in smoking.
Very well. On that note, I have been speaking to Dr. Dennis Odailaye. He is with Ghana Health Service as the Program Manager for Non-Communicable Diseases. And because today is World No Tobacco Day, he has been educating us. People, remember that you can't smoke away your problems. They will still be there. And so let's all help one another to help curb this tobacco craze in Ghana anyways. But hello, Ghana. It's now time to rock with your homie, Reggie and Bowley, as they take summer 2018 by storm with their latest Afrobeat single, Wine Up. Be the first to watch the video of Reggie and Bowley single Wine Up today on TV3. It is exclusive and we'll be bringing it to you here right now. So take this, watch this, enjoy and dance to it. We'll be right back.
So as Wine For Me, Reggie and Bowley is a new banger in town. Exclusive, you saw it first here on TV3 NewDay, as we promised. It will be on the global, front tomorrow, Friday. But ahead of that, we're having a very special industry engagement, how to monetize your talents and your creativity and your skills within the arts and entertainment and cultural, perspective. We're having that function here at the TV3 Executive Theatre, 10 a.m. prompt. And seats are available for you. Only limited seats remain. But if you are a musician, you are an actor, you are a sculptor, you like to paint, whatever it is, a sound engineer, whatever it is, make your way to the TV3 Executive Theatre because Abraham Ohenijan will be here. He will be speaking, respected cinematographer, director of multiple award-winning Measure. He will be here. Francis Doku is head of Media General's digital team. He will be speaking as well. Mr. Nyuro is part of the mobile content team. He will be speaking. And this is under the auspices of the Ghana Tourism Authority and Media General and the Arts Council. They will all be there. So the people who matter in the arts and entertainment industry will be there. Why won't you be there? It's absolutely free as well. But Tilapia has got something to show us, and it says the fruitless unveiling of a nurse's wonder mask. So it comes with something that looks like Kwesi Nyantakyi and Honorable Kennedy Japan, and it says I will expose that guy. And it says, well, he should be in my pocket before June 6th. So it has different headgears that has the proverbial beads signature of Anas. There are a lot more in the box. And it says, he should be in my pocket before 6th June. Anas is watching from a distance. I'm sure he'll say, look at these people.
But Tilapia should be careful lest Kennedy Japan also gets to him and says he would expose him. Yeah. Right now we're exposed. I mean, we're in the business of just exposing anybody for anything.
Amma, is that your real face?
No. In my
It's not
my real face.
By popular request, our two friends are here. They belong to the Chalabim and Salabim Foundation of Families. The Angelic Visitation. That's Angel Obinim, or as it calls, Angel Obinim. And it says, all pastors where they insult me, Nimokafri and Aitefrim, they come for you. Okay, let's see. So interesting. Nimokafri. Happy birthday to you.
I'm still trying to find out who Nimokafri is. So if anyone knows out there, they should, let us know through our WhatsApp platform.
It's Nimo, so Nimo.
No, maybe it's a name in the Bible, but I'm not aware of it. Okay. So I'm hoping people who have read that part of the Bible will be able
is not an angel, is he?
No, he's not. And I mean, Ahithophel sounds a bit like Ahithophel, but Ahithophel was a king. So I'm not really sure who we are talking about.
But maybe when he died and went to heaven, he became an angel.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe if there are people who know who he's talking about, they should teach. We're all learning. We're all not scholars of the Bible yet.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Hey.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Don't go there.
Happy birthday, big one to you, my brother Benjamin Alpha, and also to you, Reverend Father Robert Nidaku Atope. He had wanted me to sing a hymn, but I have a rookie voice.
Oh, but you can start. He can be a director.
In all his works, most wonderful.
No, I don't know that one.
In all his works, most wonderful.
Right now, sorry, we can't be of help. But what director, support your singer.
This man doesn't go to church.
Today's Thursday.
Which part do you sing? Chorus?
No, I'm a tenor singer.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Be good.